Welcome to this new episode of Casted to Keen. My name's Joshua Mickle, your host, and I have with me here special guest Vic
What's good?
Lucas.
What's good?
So, how you doing, my man?
Man, chilling, bro. How are you doing?
Busy day, as you know.
Yeah.
Where we both work, it's always something
Intense.
Yep, it's always intense with something. All right. For today's episode, there are two topics that we're going to be just cleaning up with that have been in the news lately that I just want to brush up on, and then the rest of the show is just going to be about you and me, just all about you, Vic. So, and I'm sure one of them you're going to have a take on. The other, I don't know if you will.
Okay,
So
okay.
I'm just going to get the one that I don't think you will have a take out of the way.
I got you.
So off the top with this first topic right here is that there has, ever since the movie Uncharted came out last year in February, director Ruben Fleischer has been quoted in saying that one of the next projects he is in development with is another video game, another Naughty Dog video game adaptation of the beloved Jak and Daxter video game series. So for those of you that may have PlayStation 2 back in the day, like I did, it is one of the most beloved video game franchises out there. Like the first thing that you think about with PlayStation 2 is probably that franchise and those two characters growing up. Then Tom Holland, the lead actor for Uncharted, and you know him as Spider-Man in the recent Spider-Man movies, he was quoted to also, when asked about it, and it was just like off the cuff sort of, hey, if you had blank check, if you had a particular character or movie you would like to do, what would you like to do? And he said, verbatim, he would like to be the main character Jak for a live action adaptation movie. Recently on Twitter, about a week or so ago, it got buzzing with some rumored casting news that one Tom Holland to play Jak, and according to this scooper, Chris Pratt supposedly coming in to voice the character Daxter. If you look at the X/Twitter handle, My Time to Shine, I am told that this particular user has broken some Marvel Cinematic Universe, Marvel related scoops. I know nothing of it. The only thing that I have to go off of is what they have posted in the past year. In the past year, it has been. It's just big speculation, just posting stuff just to post stuff up against the wall, and it hasn't been verified, and it hasn't been corroborated by studios or anyone close to the matters of particular topics. Like the other day, this person, he or she, came out and said that She-Hulk season 2 is confirmed to be happening for Disney Plus once the strikes end for the actors out there, for the Screen Actors Guild. She-Hulk had one of the worst receptions out there. And if they were to do a She-Hulk season 2, you better get better writers for starters, because for a comedy show, it was not funny. And that's the one sin you cannot do as a comedy show, is not be funny. But
even I know that thing sucked.
So what are some comedies that you don't think is funny then?
I probably can't say them off the top, but I know that She-Hulk was not funny.
No, it was not.
At all. It was pretty cringe.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I actually, fun fact about me, I was like, besides Hawkeye, I had not like skipped out on anything Marvel related or anything movie related. This was the one show where when they show Megan Thee Stallion in that teaser credit scene, CGI twerking, to where I just took my remote and I turned it. I knew Daredevil was going to show up in the show. It was confirmed he was going to show up in the show. I'm like, I will search it on YouTube when those scenes come out. And then I eventually got back to watching some of the scenes for She-Hulk.
It was that moment that canceled it for you.
For me. Yeah, I'm like, this is not hilarious. What I want to... like, it may be funny for some people. For me, it was not.
So was it really like a CGI twerk?
I didn't have a problem with like, it's She-Hulk, like she has to be CGI'd, but there are better things to use your computer generated imagery for than that. I mean,
yeah, I get that.
I mean, I had in that particular episode, I had no problem with her showing up in the courtroom because it was some sort of shapeshifter impersonator saying that he or she was Megan Thee Stallion, and the defendant was like, I had fun with her. It's like, no, you didn't. That wasn't really her. Yeah. And then the actual, she was actually there in the court. I'm like, that fun little throwaway joke. That's fun. That's okay. Cool.
Right. But why?
It was after that. I'm like, why?
I get it. Yeah.
But yeah, to throw that out there and the way that it was received, the only reason that show can go forward is if you get better. Like you sweep that writer's room and get better, and you bring in a whole new slew of writers. That's the only way you can go forward with season 2. Back to Jack and Daxter in particular. These games, I remember the first time I played the game. I won't indulge into the long story, but needless to say, these 3 games have had quite an influence. I put it up there with the Tobey Maguire first Spider-Man movie that came out, of how much of an impact that had on my childhood. And the way they were depicted as like the heroes, the antagonists, the protagonists, the storylines, the mythology of the the game, it's ripe to be had for a Hollywood treatment. And funny story, they were supposed to do a 4th entry for Naughty Dog, and they didn't know what they were going to do with it. They were well into development with it, Vic, and then that ultimately turned into The Last of Us for Naughty Dog. And look what The Last of Us just did on HBO, one of the better shows out there. I don't know if you've seen.
I haven't seen it.
It's a great show. Great show on HBO, The Last of Us.
The Last of Us, gotcha.
It takes what you know from the game, and somehow elevates it. Like the game's already great,
right? And
it somehow found a way to make it greater. So that's one of and if you play the game, like the first episode of the show, and if you play the game, you know a particular thing's coming. I knew a particular thing was coming, and when it happened, I'm still crying my eyes out. I'm like, this is still powerful to watch.
That's fire.
Unbelievable. Jack and Daxter, yes, deserves a movie. Absolutely, they deserve a movie. But for it to be coming from this particular scooper out there, I take it with a grain of salt. I do not like, as much as I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and as much as I liked him in Uncharted, I'm one of the only people that like Uncharted. Everyone else on the internet seems to not like it. I didn't. Maybe it's because I didn't play the games, but maybe if I play the games, I probably feel different about it.
Right.
But, like, the movie, I had no issue with. Tom Holland, I have no issue with. Chris Pratt and Tom Holland actually were co-leads on the Pixar movie Onward that came out in March 2020 that unfortunately got its legs chopped off underneath it when the shutdowns happened that year in 2020.
Tough.
So they have actually done films together, and Chris Pratt's just coming off of the Super Mario Brothers movie. So if there's something to be right for him to be voice acting, that will be curious to see a Chris Pratt Daxter voiced character, and the character's not only funny, but you think it's a kid's game. No, he's PG-13 Deadpool. That's what he is. Minus the fourth breaking, that's what he is with the jokes. It's PG-13 Deadpool. Just picture that right there. That's essentially what the character Daxter is in all 3 Jack and Daxter games. And Jack 2, the second game, drew great influence, and it was revealed by Naughty Dog during their expose a few years ago. They drew great inspirations from Grand Theft Auto. Of how you're able to just stroll around the city. Yeah. You can steal people's cars, particular scene setting, sequences, inspirations. They took great, they looked so closely to Grand Theft Auto as one of their inspirations for Jack 2, going from the first game, which is like a Crash Bandicoot Mario game, and then you jump forward into number 2, which is like a Grand Theft Auto, and then the third game acts like a Mad Max treatment.
Right. In
the desert, in the wilderness and whatnot, in the wasteland. So to have those 3 different entries to be so different, but they flow together, and the mythology is still there to be had. Yes, I would ultimately support a movie. I would prefer animation, But so I can understand if they're being held up in that department because they're currently still developing the third Spider-Verse movie. They're still in development with that, despite the cliffhanger we just had in the last movie. So their animation department is going to be bookend busy with that movie. Live action, it'll be tough. It's going to be interesting and cracked down. Do you do a movie or do you do a live Last of Us TV treatment? And we're getting the God of War. We're getting Ghost of Hiroshima or whatever. I forget what the game's called. We're getting that adaptation for TV. We're getting a Horizon adaptation for TV. We just had Gran Turismo come out in theaters. Uncharted come out a year or so ago. So they are definitely pumping out movies. It's just a matter of, for this particular video game entry, yes, it needs to happen, but for this particular source, take it with a grain of salt from this particular scooper, because he or she has not had the most accurate track record. The one person I will trust, from beginning to end, his name is Daniel RPK on Twitter or Twitter/X. Ever since No Way Home, all the behind the scenes stuff from 2020 with that, and way before that with MCU scoops that he has done, he has nailed everything to the T. I can say 9 out of every 10 scoops he does is banger. It's on the money. So in terms of this particular one, I put this down. I would put a thumbtack on this one. I would save this for later, bring it back for when the studio or some reputable source comes out and says, yes, there's some credibility to this here. But for the time being, it still lives on in the video game world. It definitely deserves a treatment. For the longest time, for the past few years, I've said they need to do a sequel. They need to do a proper fourth entry into the franchise. The game came out in 2000. The first game came out in 2002. It is over 20 years since the first game came out. And for it to be that long, now we're about to get Toy Story 5 in a few years. So, and that first movie came out in the mid 90s.
Wow.
It felt like that came out in the late 90s. The first Toy Story movie did. So it's never too. I won't say it's never too late to do a new game. But 20 years, most of the audience, I'm pretty sure you don't know who Jack and Daxter are, or you probably heard of him in passing, or never heard of him at all. So you have folks like Vic here who don't know anything about these characters that you have, that if you're going to do a movie, how are you going to make it to where you bring newcomers like, say, Vic here, onto the scene and get him to love these characters and mythology? And how do you make it faithful to those that have wanted a continuation of this game or a movie treatment of this source? And that's all I got to say about that. So our next topic right now is, when we last did our podcast episode a few weeks ago, one of the topics was that Apple could be purchasing Disney possibly from the major trades in Hollywood, reporting that Disney could sell itself off to Apple and it's lining itself up for purchase. And one of those details is that one of the things that Apple would only purchase Disney is for the entertainment assets. And if ESPN and ABC and all their other cable TV channels are sold off, and Apple just wants the content from Disney, and they want the brand name. They want the brand name. They want the content all to themselves. A new report has just come out from the New York Post that Amazon has now partnered up with ESPN for distribution for their channel now going on for Amazon Prime. Now, right now, that may not be much, but according to the New York Post, it is said that this is setting up the stage for Amazon to outright buy out ESPN. And for those that are football fans, you may be thinking, doesn't Amazon Prime already do Thursday Night Football already? Like Amazon Monday Night Football and Amazon Thursday Night Football. Wouldn't that be a monopoly? Not necessarily, because ESPN, all ESPN is a sports hub of videos and live streams that it does for other sports content. they do not, like in terms of sports making, like they do not own NFL content. They don't own NBA, soccer, MLB, NHL, etc. They have to go to those particular sports and strike, and they have to strike deals with those particular companies, because it used to be back in the day, Vic, Monday Night Football was not on ESPN. It was on ABC before ESPN entered into a deal with the NFL to have it now aired on Monday Night Football. Well, now you look back in hindsight, ABC is the same company as Disney with ESPN, right. So it's like, okay, we'll move to one. No worries. But Apple didn't want to deal with the regulators in terms of owning ESPN and having the headache to air such things from the FTC, from the Federal Trade Commission. Now, with Amazon possibly lining itself up to outright buy out ESPN and all their contracts, Disney is set there ready to be purchased by the mouse. And they get extra money from such purchase of ESPN from Amazon. So they're going to have extra money in their coffers. And going forward, it picks up even more steam that Apple and Tim Cook are going to levy out over hundreds of billions of dollars to purchase the mouse. So I just want to get your quick thoughts on it, just general thoughts. How would you feel if you heard tomorrow that the iPhone creators, the Apple,
right,
now has the mouse in Disney?
I mean, everything's for sale, man. Like,
everybody's got a price.
Everybody has a price. I don't think it shocks me. It shocked me when Apple bought right to the MLS. I was like, wait, what? But then it kind of made me realize everybody has a price. So I think it's a good move. Being objective, is it objective? Yeah. I feel like that's a really smart move. That's a lot of money. How much is it?
Disney is worth over, I want to say they are worth over $150 billion.
Good God Almighty. That's
and
a lot of money.
Amazon and Apple has over $100 billion in the bank in cash already.
In cash.
Already.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're worth $1 trillion, over $1 trillion for Apple. So,
right.
So for years, for the hypothetical out there for years is that who could Discovery just bought Warner Brothers, Disney just bought 20th Century Fox a few years ago. The question was like, okay, who could purchase Disney? And the two companies that could do it and do it over and over again, sell, buy it, is Amazon and Apple.
Right. Those
are the two companies. And Amazon is already in the entertainment business already with Prime Video.
Right.
And Apple's getting out there with Apple TV Plus.
Right.
That'd be insane. Like, again, it still shocks me how that would be insane.
Do you think anything's going to change with Disney when or if it happens?
I think honestly, like I'm just looking at it from the outside. I'm just looking on from the onset point of view.
Right.
Disney, for better or for worse, for the past few years, has gotten themselves in turmoil with their audience politically, where they didn't need to.
Right.
And as far as I'm aware of, Apple is not like that with their customers. They just say,
stay out of it.
It's like here I'm going to pretend this is an iPhone. Like here's the iPhone 15 Plus. Here's the product. Enjoy it. Yeah. There's no strings attached to it.
Right.
Like there's no BS behind it.
Right.
Like political motivation or political senses or not. It's like here's the product. We make it. You're the consumer. Do you want to buy it or not?
Yeah.
Disney has gotten themselves, for better or for worse, in the wrong hornet's nest when it comes to that. Hence, some of the stuff that happened with Lightyear that came out last year. Some of the stuff that's come out with some of the Disney films that have been underperforming because of such inclusions for whatever agenda they may have politically.
Right.
From the onset, if Apple gets their hands on the Disney products, like it would be, as Paul Briggs mentioned a few weeks ago, Disney made the Grimm brothers stories, like to start out with Snow White and some of the old IP. Like that's where they start out.
Right.
That's where they start out. They start out as a movie making company before they got into theme parks, cruises, and then now today, a whole bunch of media stuff. And politically, they're just in a hot mess right now that they had to oust their CEO to bring the old one back in,
Really?
Bob Iger, back in 2009. I mean, back when he was CEO in 2019, just 4 years ago. So I would love to see what Apple's approach would be with Star Wars. I would love, because I would guarantee you the leadership with Kathleen Kennedy, who's the head of Lucasfilm, she would be gone. I will guarantee you she would be ousted if Tim Cook and Apple, like Entertainment, bought the assets of Disney.
Yeah.
And everything Disney. That includes everything. National Geographic, Marvel, Disney, Lucasfilm, Star Wars, like everything.
Right.
Even the recent 20th Century Fox stuff they bought with Planet of the Apes, Alien, Predator, like the Die Hard movies. There's a whole bunch of other 20th century movies that an IP that The Simpsons is another one.
Right.
Like, and they're just going on. Simpsons, they have been on for how long? I haven't watched an episode
since I've been a kid.
They just keep chugging along. That's the one thing that never dies.
Right. Simpsons. Yeah. I feel like Apple is all about the product. Nothing more, nothing less. Like, do you like my product or not?
Exactly.
And yeah.
And that's what Disney and the rest of the subsidiaries that they own need to be about. Like,
right.
There is a difference between meeting a quota for, like, hey, we want to include, like, say, a Hispanic actor or like a different racial background actor. The perfect example I use for this is the Daredevil series that came out in 2015 and on Netflix. One of the characters that was used in the show, in the comics, he's white. But in the series, he's black.
Right.
That did not.
For the quota.
That did not. No, I say that to say, like, the swapping of his skin color did nothing to affect the story or rub it in your face or anything.
Right.
Like, it flowed with the story.
Right.
It flowed with the story. Now, I'm open. Like, now there are certain characters you can't do that with.
Right.
Black Panther. You cannot make that a white dude. You cannot make him a white
That's
dude.
hilarious.
You cannot make Miles Morales a white man. You can't make Peter Parker a black guy.
Mixed Panther.
You can't go crazy with that.
Right.
But there is a way where you can do that. And one of the Netflix shows that me and my wife used to watch, it's called The Fosters. You have two. I mean, it's like their home's a foster home. Yeah, and it's led by two women who's a couple. Okay, but that's not the main. But that's not the main story. It's not about them. Like, they're back characters, and they have a good dynamic between the two women leads. Right. But it's not the main consensus of the story. You're focused on the kids and how they're doing growing up, and some of them meeting their parents. Right. And some of them going through high school. Like, that's like anything like politically motivating. It's not the main story. Right. So you can have your representation all you want. Right. But does the script call for it, though?
Exactly. That makes sense.
I mean, we're now getting a Snow White movie, and if you haven't heard, there's not going to be dwarves.
Why not?
Yeah, it's just going to be a whole bunch of different people.
Normal dudes?
Like normal dudes, small dudes, and girls in there as well, apparently, of all different backgrounds.
It's Snow White and the seven what?
Privileged people.
Got it. Nice.
Which, if you ever have a chance to look at it online, Pierce Morgan goes after this dude. It's like, of all the people that's made for Hollywood roles, right? Dwarves and Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, you must cast dwarves in those movies.
It literally says so in the name.
But yeah, to get back on topic, yes, I would totally. I have Disney Plus. I'm about to cancel that thing. Like, my thing's about to run out in late October, early November. Yeah, and I'm just gonna let it lapse.
And you're done.
I mean, because there's actually a way I can watch it without paying for it. So that's neither here or there. I won't say who, what, or where, or who.
You might have to slide me that plug later.
Yeah. So, but for how would that work though? Would you have like would everything be integrated into Apple TV Plus, or you do like a Discovery thing where you still have Discovery Plus, you still have Max. One of them offers up everything, and the other just offers up that core particular thing. It's like,
I feel like there will be tiers, like higher tiers now, like $300 a year.
gee.
It might be worth it though. That's a lot of TV.
If I'm a ESPN guy and Amazon gets them, I'm like I better hope I have an Amazon account. We probably do at this point.
Yeah,
all of us do.
Yeah.
All right. With that out of the way, main topics. One topic. This man right here, Christian artist, savant, video producer.
Man,
you seem to be everything.
It's not that deep.
Yes, it is. Like when I first, it was actually the first creative night where you were actually showcased on our big LED screen at the church.
Right.
And I had only known you just to be like one of our on-staff photographers, like videographers.
Right.
Then they showcase you on like during creative night, like in the lobby, and I get to looking online. I'm like, holy crap, this guy's like really good.
Right.
It's really good. So what got you? So what came first? Like photographer, music artist? Like
I'm honestly not even sure, man. Like I've just
simultaneously it just came.
Simultaneous. I think professionally the music came first. So I actually came to America 6 years ago, or 7 years, on a soccer scholarship. My first month in, I tore a ligament in my toe while I was changing. Most people end their careers doing good stuff, doing stuff that is deep. Like I was climbing a mountain, I was changing, and I hit a wood table and my toe went out, and I screamed like a girl. That's not the point. The point is,
so we all stub our toes in America, and you somehow tore.
I tore a ligament.
Muscles,
Yes, it was a wrap. So in that moment, that month, I wrote this song called "On My Knees." I was so mad at God, so I wrote this song saying, "Well, here I am, but I'm on my knees, and it is what it is." And I put it on YouTube. And that same week, there was this big YouTube channel that put out Christian music, and they reached out. They were like, "Yo, we've never heard anything like this." Me looking back to it, that song sucked. In my opinion, that song was absolute.
It won't be as bad as my one and only, like, sniff in hip hop. Or whatever, like the music world. Like I sent you the video.
Yeah,
it was over 10 years ago for the youth conference. So
be proud of your work.
So yes, I posted it on my YouTube channel just before the conference.
Right.
This year. So. It's out there. If you want to watch it, I won't watch it again though. So
really?
That's just me. Like I watched the first few frames when I found it on the servers. I'm like, oh my god.
When I saw it, I was like, where's the rest of him? Who is this? Oh, it's Josh.
Yeah. His name is Gerald. Prophet G helped me out with the lyrics.
Okay.
That beat I made myself.
Okay.
So I made some beats back in the day.
I see you.
But for some reason, like after I left Tennessee, my dad transferred to Virginia in 2013.
Yeah.
After that, it just fell off a cliff for me.
Gotcha.
So I used to make beats back in the day.
Okay. Okay, Timberland.
So
I see you working.
So who's this YouTube channel that reached out to you?
It was called the Good Christian Music Blog. Back in the day, I say back in the day, like it was a long time. It was like 5 years ago. They were like the go-to on YouTube. And they reached out. They were like, we want to put this on. And they put it on, and that's when I've always known that I've had musical talent, but I never took it seriously because my older brother and my younger sister are professional like singers. And honestly, I don't have whatever talent people think I have. I'm like, stop, because they are ridiculous, you know? So they put it on and they were like, we love it. And then I realized, okay, I have this gift. And that's when I just started to take it seriously. Yeah.
One of the videos I saw with you on, you had 1K view on it.
1K view.
That's
really.
Great. So how that so how does that happen now with artists? Like, do they reach out to you, or are you signed with a music label of some sort?
So I used to be signed before COVID. I was actually supposed to be signed in a joint venture between. I went to Delta State University. Okay. They have a record label. I was signed there. I was supposed to be signed in a joint venture with Paper Trail, with Young Dolph. Then COVID happened. Yeah. And then after COVID, Young Dolph died. So that never happened.
There goes the label.
So there goes that. And just the whole deal, the way it happened, it just wasn't great. But yeah, I was signed, but since then I've been independent. I was so everything comes out of my pocket, and yeah, and I just do multiple things, so it's very hard to focus on the music right now. But yeah, with that stuff, you create relationships. I reached out to Few, and he was like, "Yo, I love this," and I was like, "Okay, then Few, jump on it." And I'm saying, and he killed it. He absolutely murdered it. It was fun because I love to learn things, and that week I had decided that I want to animate this. I learned how to animate in 3 days, and I put that video out. So that was fun.
3 days.
Yeah. So yeah, you just create relationships as time goes on.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, so how did you end up being here in Memphis at the Life Church then?
Oh man.
So how that went down, just to explain to the audience.
Yeah. Okay. So soccer player in Kansas City. That's where I played soccer. I broke my toe in Kansas City. I traveled to the middle of Kansas to basically, there was this school, regardless of me being hurt, this school that was ranked number 6, they were like, you will get healed, but you will play for us. So they gave me like a mini scholarship thing on faith. I never really got healed. I wasn't the same player. My toe was just hurting. I was running I was just funny.
What position were you in soccer?
Forward and winger.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I used to run. I had to run fast.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, So a year later, I had to quit. But provisionally, somehow, Delta State University reached out and they were like, "We want to give you a scholarship." I was like, "Okay, you want to give me money? I'm there." But it was Mississippi, so ain't nothing there. So yeah, it wasn't fun. But they had a Delta Music Institute, which has the biggest label this side of the biggest music studio this side of America. Really cool. Yeah. So before the end of Delta State, I was like, what am I going to do? I can't just live off this art right now. Mm-hmm. So somehow, there was a teacher that decided to teach there that, his name is James Teeley. He was a writer for Lauren Daigle and all these, big artists in Nashville. He decided to teach there during COVID. I don't know why, but, he was my songwriting class teacher, and he gave us an assignment. Nobody took that class seriously, but that was the only class that I took seriously, So I put in songs every week, and every week he would be like, "Dude, what are you doing here? Like, why are you wasting your time here? You should be in Nashville with us." And I was like, yeah, it's all talk. But a week before school ended, he was like, I want you to fly to Nashville, and I want to introduce you to the record labels. That week, I shook hands with all the record labels, Capitol, Integrity, all of them. And
please tell me Goatee.
Goatee, yeah.
Yeah, Toby Mac's label.
Yeah. I shook hands with their A&R, all of them, all the Nashville people. But I didn't actually sign. We can get to that later, but yeah. So then I moved out to Nashville and I started to work. James Teeley eventually became the director of publishing at Integrity, and I started to work with them creating content. I lived there for a couple of years. The thing about Nashville is this: it's like a mini California.
Nash Vegas is what they call it.
Yes, like you can never be sure who your friend is. You know, like, are you friends because you like me or you like my stuff? Figure it out, you know? Figure it out, bro. But yeah, life happened. A few things happened, and I had to make a decision. I was like, you know what? Memphis is like, Nashville is not too far.
Yeah.
And I did visit the Life Church before moving there. I was like, you know what? I actually like the Life Church. So I reached out to the Life Church, and they saw my son. I was like, oh my, Vic Lucas. Yeah, you know. And yeah, one thing led to another, and here I am.
Here you are. So I can tell you how rigorous my interview process was. I put in the application mid-February. I get 2 interviews at the end of February, and it's almost stone cold silence for months.
Dang.
And then
I'm so sorry.
and then they flew me out that June
Yeah.
last year for the youth conference to have both Angie and Marcus and everyone else there. Like an extra hand to have there. That July, I get the job offer. Here I am today.
Wow.
So from February to July.
Wow.
How was your progress compared to mine?
Do we gotta talk about this?
We don't have to.
Okay. I'm not gonna say that it was easy.
Just so we can see the dynamic between the two.
It was different circumstances though, because my position was needed immediately.
Okay. Yeah.
But I will say, I knew from the first interview that it was a wrap.
So I'm gonna circle back to what you said about the labels you signed.
Right.
1, did you have a particular one that you want to sign with? 2, why didn't you sign with?
Right. Let me just give a very huge disclaimer. I'm a very honest person.
Okay.
So don't ask something you don't want to know, because I'm going to tell you. Okay.
That's totally fine.
All right, cool. So I think, looking back now, at the time, I probably wanted to sign with Goatee because they had Aaron Cole. I felt like they were freer, like they had freedom. Mm-hmm. I had a better relationship with, what's this label? With Lauren Daigle's label. I can't think of the name right now. Their director is just such a cool guy. But I wanted to sign with Goatee. Looking back, I feel like I should have signed with Capitol, just because they had more money.
Atlantic Records and Centricity.
Centricity, yes. I had a great relationship with their guy. I should have signed with Capitol because they had the means. You know, why didn't I sign? Okay, so I want you to hear my heart, because if I just say what I'm about to say,
this platform is for you, man.
I bet. Because again, listen before you judge, okay? Because I didn't sign because in that whole process, I realized a huge problem that was going on. Okay. So somehow, weirdly, it was in that season, a song of mine just randomly started charting on the billboards. It was a song called Enough. I went to Nashville that week to meet them all, and my mentor, that guy, his name just James Teeley, he was looking at the billboard charts. He was like, Vic, you should listen to this guy and then this guy. I was like, okay, cool. And he keeps scrolling, and he stops for a minute. I'm like, are you okay? I was like, yeah. He's like, Vic, why is your name on the billboard chart?
We try to sign the label, and here you are.
I was like, why is your name on the billboard charts? And I'm like, stop playing with me, bro. This is not the time. We're trying to be serious. It's like, Victor, look at the billboard chart. Your name is on there. It makes no sense to me, right? Because that song was at least a year old. But it was that he was like, okay, just keep calm. Don't say nothing, and I will try to sneak it in that he's actually charting. You know. But in that season, I realized a huge problem that was happening. In America, it is normal for people to create a career off of their faith, right? Jesus is for sale here. And even if it's not intentional, it becomes that. People will tell you that the music industry is an industry, whether it's Christian or not, it's an industry. So the problem that's happened even on social media, why I'm not as active as I used to be, is that people have created a platform for themselves off of the name of Jesus. That's one of the reasons why I decided that if I was going to use my gifts, I'm very good at growing social media pages easily. I could have grown my own within a month and blew it up. But it didn't feel right. It like something always just, it makes me feel icky. Like I know exactly what to say to Christians to get the like. I know how to get the share. I know how to get them to follow me in thousands. Right, but it doesn't. Why would I have to use the name of Jesus? John said, "I decrease as He increases." Why do we both have to increase at the same time? Something just felt weird, So I decided, if I'm going to be an artist, I will not use the name of Jesus to blow up. So I'm okay with when people refer to me as a Christian artist because I've never been ashamed of if you listen to my songs, you will hear my faith somehow because I'm an honest person, right? But I don't identify myself as a Christian artist because I will not sell my faith ever. It's not for sale. So
Skillet has the same. I'm sorry to.
No.
Skillet, if you ever been to one of their concerts, they will either halfway or 2/3 of it through, they will bring that up and say, "Hey, yeah, we're a Christian band, but we do go on tours with non-Christian bands.
Right?
Like it's like we're not just Christian. Like we want to reach other people as well." That are not in name Christian, so that when we go to those kinds of concerts, they can be like, okay, who's this band?
Right.
And then you go down that rabbit hole, and then they eventually, you would hope, find God.
Yeah. And for me, I take it to the next level, and I say, if you listen to me because I'm Christian, you're not actually supporting me. You're listening to me to check for my faith. I'm good. Like me and God, we're good. I don't have to sell you that. Listen to me because you think my music is dope. That's my philosophy.
Yeah, that's good philosophy.
So the reason I did not sign is because if I was going to sign for a Christian label, I would have to sell my faith to be successful. And it's not, to the average consumer, it's not obvious. Like, you hear these beautiful songs, and some of these songs come from the most beautiful places. But for me, it's hard to listen to Christian music 90% of the time because I've been in those rooms.
Yeah,
I know the process. I know what Lecrae has to think through before he writes any lyric about God. He might be thinking about the most honest, beautiful line, but a lot of the time he has to filter it to make it sound Christian in order for the Christians to buy it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And it's not a bad thing, but
it's not. Yeah.
It's not honest, So that's why I did not sign. And if I ever do decide to pursue music full time again, which honestly the clock is running out. If I ever do,
you seem young.
I seem young. If I ever do, I don't think I would sign to a Christian label just to protect my faith. Because to me saying this is not that I don't want to represent it's obvious. When you listen, you'll be like, oh, this is one of those Christians. But for me.
Yeah, there's a stint where Lecrae was signed with
Columbia,
yeah. There was a stint where he was with them for a bit.
And you see, like, what happened was that he started to lose fans. He started to lose money.
That actually got some rep points for me. I'm like,
I know.
Okay. Okay, if you can grab those artists,
right?
His song with Blessings.
Blessings, yes.
Like that was the first perfect example,
right?
Like and Waka Flocka. It was in one of those songs as well.
Yes.
Like, folks probably, I don't know if you remember, it's B.O.B. He had
Yes,
POV.
yes,
Yep.
I remember.
So that's one of the things I loved about Lecrae, is
Right.
that where it's cool if. Now it was a fan dream of mine for him to Toby Mac to do a collab. And they finally did. And they finally did on Toby Mac's track. It's called Forgiveness.
Okay.
It's called Forgiveness. They finally did do a collab.
Okay.
To which, I mean, because when I first heard Lecrae, it was actually on an Axis Mission strip in 2010. We were
Nice.
having lunch, and then it's like something's playing on the radio. I'm listening to the lyrics. I'm like,
Hold on.
okay, wait, what is this? Who is this? It was Lecrae's Rebel album. That was
Gotcha. Yeah.
And that opened a whole door for me of Reach Records and everything else,
Right.
from Derek Minor and others, to where I'm like, because for me it was Skillet, like your worship songs,
Right.
Christian stuff. I was never open to that door of like this, like outside of Toby Mac.
Yeah.
It's like, this is not possible.
Right.
To where how Toby Mac revolutionized like the Christian industry that way, I felt like Lecrae was revolutionizing the next decade of Christian hip hop, and that was one of my things. I'm like, these two icons have to get together, and thankfully they did. But selfishly, Toby Mac needs to appear on a Lecrae album. So because Toby Mac can throw it down, he just doesn't. He just doesn't. He can. He just doesn't.
It's all about marketing. You can't just do things. That's the whole point. That's the whole point.
But to get back to the record labels, one of the things that also you kind of risk. I mean, this is me as a average music fan, like general music fan. If I see someone label themselves as Christian artists, and then something comes up like hot button topic of the day where it may be controversial, especially in the Christian community. If you have that Christian label, and then you say something against the grain, then that label that you just create for yourself stuff to where nowadays where it's like, just don't call yourself like, if you want to, that's fine. But like you said, don't sell yourself.
Don't sell,
unless you're going to go all
the way. Yeah. And now the problem that we have with that is that people have realized that calling yourself a Christian artist is an easy way to blow up. And those that aren't willing to go all the way still call themselves that, then they get messed up. Like there's this guy that was that sings for this popular worship band. What's it called? Maverick City.
Okay.
What's his name? So now he does R&B and pop and gospel too. But in his latest music video, there's like half naked girls twerking, and the problem was that he blew up off of claiming or appearing to be super
I have no idea
holy.
what this is, by the way. So
this is
sounding like Transformation Church for Easter. So this is what it's starting to sound like right now.
So there's Dante Bowe and is it Dante Bowe? Dante Bowe. Do you know him?
I don't know.
Okay,
I know
Google him.
I know nothing of Maverick City until I first got back here and we were writing songs for Pro Presenter for the worship team.
So these people are basically, they're trained or packaged by their labels to appear as, I hate to be that guy, holier than thou. Yes, we're called to be holy as Christians, but look, man, we're all normal people. We're all messed up, but they are made to appear like they have no mistakes and no faults, right? In order to keep the machine going. The problem is that eventually that fault is going to show because you're human. And now they're all starting to, like, their faults are starting to show. Like Dante was dancing in a club. This one is saying he wants to do regular music. All that stuff is feeding to the fact that the Christian industry is not a ministry, it's an industry.
Exactly.
Look
at Hillsong. Like, you ever seen that Hillsong documentary?
Man, that hurt, bro.
That hurt too. Now, fun fact, I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
If you remember, Wave Church was featured in Virginia Beach in part 2.
Okay.
I used to go to that church for about
my gosh.
I used to go to that church for a year and a half after I got married.
Yeah.
And that blondie that was being interviewed.
Okay.
You can look her up, and I can share it with you. I'll share it in the link. I'll share in the link of this video. I forget her name, but Blondie. We're just gonna call her Blondie.
Blondie.
She actually sang for a good portion at Galilee Church.
Okay.
At my church. And then when the trailers for Hillsong came out, like I only seen like a few blips of it here and there, but I didn't see her. And then my wife points out, I was like, hey, that's our singer. We just saw
Oh my God.
There's no, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Wow.
And then after that documentary came out, she was no show. No show whatsoever at the church.
At the church?
Anywhere. She was in Los Angeles for some reason, posting crying videos. So put that what you will.
Oh my
She used
word.
to be with Hillsong. She used to be with that controversial pastor that started at Wave Church as a youth pastor. Fun fact, Wave used to be part of ARC. So
Really?
yeah. So
Yo, that's tough.
so part 2 of that Hillsong documentary, it personally just personally like I went there. I've had groups there. I used to volunteer for a media team there.
Yeah.
I actually tried out for drums on the worship team.
Oh, man.
And then that day later I get the job offer for Old Dominion University
Right.
for filming. So there goes my drumming.
So random
because
question.
I used to play drums for Axis for a youth group.
I play drums too. That's cool.
Yeah. I'll show you my drum set. Actually.
Oh, yeah?
I'll show you the
Nice.
drum set after we're done here. But I mean, just to get back to Hillsong. Hillsong really,
Wait, random question first.
yeah.
When you were there, did you notice anything weird?
No, it seemed like Life Church-esque to me. Like that's the closest thing Life Church-esque,
Right.
like as a churchgoer that drew me to the church. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, yes, we are packing it to the punch.
Right.
They do like their Easter and their Christmases are top notch. Like
Okay.
like Life Church Sound of Christmas, top notch.
Okay.
But yeah, to answer your question, there wasn't anything like weird
Out there,
Now,
right.
now, the only thing that was weird that Megan would say to me, because she and her mother used to volunteer at the church, is that, let's say, for example, Life Church was under this thing I'm about to explain to you. Pastor John Siebling, like some of the head pastors, it's like its own class per se. They get their own seats, and then the only folks that get like the front row seats or whatnot are the folks that tithe the most.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean that's what I am told. That is what I am told.
That's
what
really
I'm
weird.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
like you're, like say what's the term like your boosters or something like
Right.
like your sponsors, your boosters. Or
They all
something,
get front row seats.
or like the majority of the front row seats. Like you have to get there like first one in the door to get a front row seat before they say. Like they put down those names. It's like someone's in here, someone's in here, someone's in here, someone's in here. Here's the pastor.
That literally contradicts scripture that says save no seat or like valuing people. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, outside of being told that, I mean, it's like their women's conference they had. I mean, that they do their Christmas, their Easter. Like they seem like a top-notch church. And
Yeah.
then that documentary just like
Dang.
like it's like exposed their past per se.
Right.
Not necessarily their present, but their past they definitely did.
Yeah.
Like cork or screw in that one.
Right.
But yeah, to get back to Hillsong.
Yeah.
When that documentary came out, it's like, to your point, it showed that this is an industry, not a
Right.
ministry.
Right.
And especially, I forget, Transformation Church has hired him, actually. I forget the guy's name.
Oh, the head pastor? From
Yeah. No. From that famously
The one that.
with Justin Bieber.
Yeah. Carl. Is that Carl Lenz?
Carl Lentz, yeah.
Yeah.
Transformation Church has hired him.
Bro, when I heard that, I was about to do a whole backflip, and I can't backflip. I was about to hurt myself. I was like, guys, what are we doing?
I don't know if I heard that first or if I saw the Easter Transformation Church first and then heard that news. To where when I put two and two together, I'm like,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
I was like, okay, it makes
What's
sense.
going on here?
I was like, okay.
But I mean, yeah, Hillsong. That's one of the pillars
Right.
for youth groups
Right.
growing up in the 2000s and
Right.
all the way up to now.
Yeah.
You would draw on Hillsong United and all those other Hillsong
Right.
bands, which confused me as a teenager. Just call yourself Hillsong.
Yeah, figure it out.
Hillsong for your main, and then Hillsong United for your youth.
Right.
Take It All was the name of the song. That was like one of the top. That's one of
Okay.
the top songs that we did in youth group for Axis. So
Right.
I remember like fun song to Sing, play, and worship too.
Sing it.
So, take it all, take it all.
It sounds familiar, but not all the way.
You sent your son from heaven to earth.
Then that's like 9 out of 10 Christian songs. So you sent your son.
Sing it to you,
Yeah,
but
no, I'm just playing with you.
But it really did like expose, like for those living in that world of like that would revere such a church, company, or whatever you want to call it, institution.
Yeah.
That stands for one thing, and then when that documentary came out, for better or for worse, it broke a lot of people's bubbles.
Yeah. To be fair, okay, let me I guess devil's advocate, but not really. Okay,
It makes me now look at Hillsong like twice now.
Yeah, everything they do, you're like,
exactly.
So I'm a PK, so I'm a pastor's kid. I think back to the things that I saw in my dad's church, and I'm like, if my dad's church was as big as Hillsong, we would have been messed up a long time ago. It's very hard to find a perfect church or organization.
Yeah.
But it's important to keep the main thing, right? And I feel like where the industry comes in is when the main thing stops being Jesus and the main thing becomes building revenue, you know, when it becomes corporate.
Yeah.
One of the first things that I learned when I came to America is that there are different versions of Jesus in every system of society. For example, my version of Jesus in Nigeria is very aggressive. You know, serve me or I'll make something bad happen to you. Jesus in South Africa, which is the second country that
one of your songs actually touches on that.
Which one?
I don't know what song it is. Maybe it's the one with 1K. Where you show videos of like people are persecuted for their faith.
Right. You
actually touch on that in one of your songs, actually.
Yeah. And in America, when I got here, I realized there's a version of Jesus that is a capitalist. You know, serve Jesus and I'll make things get big for you. Like big things will happen if you serve Jesus. You know, so you realize that a lot of the times, instead of conforming into his image, you're conforming him into yours. And it's like, oh, that's what's happening with a lot of the industry, with a lot of the music, with a lot of the churches. It's like, oh, we say it's for Jesus, but when it's actually like it's for us. And that's where Hillsong and all these, you know, labels. And yes, there are some good labels, but at the end of the day, we mess up by just like adding a little bit of nonsense in the good, and suddenly the whole thing is spoiled. But yeah, that brings it then answer to the whole conversation of why I decided not to sign to a Christian record label, because it gets messy.
Was Sony Music one of those labels?
I wish. The thing with Sony has labels under them that are Christian. So I think it may be, but the actual Sony.
KB is signed under a label, but we all know it's under Sony. So I just say KB's signed by Sony. Because it's nice and general.
Yeah.
So one of the things that really intrigued me is, and there were so many videos that when whatever fallout was between KB and Reach Records, whether it be for, I can see the argument and we can just be done with it and say, hey, Sony offered us more money and more creative freedom.
Right.
I know which way I'm going.
Right.
Thanks for the start, Reach Records. I'll still hold you true to near to my heart.
Yeah.
But
I gotta go.
They're calling me and I'm gonna be leading there.
Right.
Versus being led by the pack here.
Right.
So I get to lead something there.
Right.
Now, just to get into fun hyperboles here, the whole Disney being bought by Apple, like mergers and whatnot. If what we are seeing right now from KB with his recent HGA 2 album that just came out, which is unbelievably good, if that is a result from like the management and the care that they take, like that they take care of over at that record label at Sony, it makes me wonder what would happen to the quality, or if nothing at all, if we heard in the music industry, I mean, it won't be blitzing big breaking news, but for us it would be like Reach Records is being bought out by Sony, or Reach Records is now an affiliate of Sony Records. It just gets me wondering, because like ever since KB joined over to Sony, again, I don't know exactly what the company name is exactly.
I forget.
But since he signed over to them, it seems like his songs have more of a pop lyrically, and you can tell it's like, I don't want to say it's like scripted, right? Like I want to say all Christian music is scripted,
right?
But it sounds like it sounds more authentic. Listening to it from KB's side,
right? And
Lecrae and Tadashi and others will still. They'll still put out good, like really good tracks,
right? But it's
like maybe it's the artist, and maybe it's just KB being, and that's who he's just been,
right? But
it just gets me wondering like the whole what if what if Reach Records was bought out tomorrow?
That's actually the perfect. Okay, so
I don't know if Reach Records is its own entity or if they're owned, but like. Who their head company is.
Like, they are, but they're distributed through different
outlets.
Yes. So this was the moment that switched it for me. I was this close, and this was the moment. I was at a festival in Nashville. I think it was called Alive, or I don't know. James Teely was performing there during the day, and he brought one of his writers from, I think it was Curb Records. And he was like, "Hey man, meet Vic. He's a rapper and whatnot." So that dude heard my music. He was like, "So he's a Christian rapper?" James was like, "Yeah, sure." And then
why not? Yeah.
Why not? And then the guy was like, "You know what, man? I have something to tell you." He said, "Okay, this next sentence just changed my life." He said, "Christian rap is the last authentic piece of Christian music that we have left." This was in 2020. He said, "This Christian rap is the last authentic piece." I didn't realize it, but that night I sat there and I was like, he's right. Because in a sense, it's the only genre that you get to say what you want to say in your honest Christian truth, you know? Because at the time, most of us were all independent. And a lot of the music, even though it's good for church, you can't really say what you want to say because you have to get people to worship, and which is great, but you can't say what your heart wants to say, you know? And with KB, this is going to shock you. Okay. So KB is my favorite artist in the world. I look up to KB theologically, musically, whatever.
After he signed with Sony, I watched a couple of his like interviews, and it got me pumped for. I'm like, okay,
like he's a real one. He's a real one. So I don't like HGA. Both the second one I could only get through the track 4, and he's my favorite artist. But let me explain.
Okay.
Okay. So.
What do you think of Intro to Glory and Danza?
Fire.
Okay, good.
Fire.
We got that out of the way.
Yeah.
We got that out of the way.
Fire.
Everything else I can agree with you is subjective.
Okay.
Okay. I can agree with you because I would take issue if you thought those two tracks were good.
Oh yeah. Okay. I give you that.
Okay, yes.
So again, I will fight for KB any day. I've spoken to KB. The real combo is any day. I'll fight for him. I feel though that because he moved to Sony, he has to prove to them that he is profitable, right? And this is my opinion from experience. I could be wrong, but I have experience there. I think he had to prove to them that he's profitable, and so he kind of sold out to the soccer moms. I'm sorry.
The soccer moms.
To the Christian soccer moms. With HGA 2, I don't think it was necessary. The first HGA, I got it. Hymns turned to hip hop. That's a fire concept.
Do you know what HGA is for him? It's Lecrae's church clothes. That's essentially what I view KB's HGA.
Okay.
This is it's essentially Lecrae's Church Clothes.
Gotcha.
1, 2. I think he came out with a third one. I don't know. Did he? I don't know. Maybe he did. I lost track.
Yeah,
those Church Clothes. Like there's like 1 or 2 tracks out of the 2 of them or 3 of them I like.
Right.
The rest, it's like, okay, I can listen to it on the road.
Right.
It's not gonna stick with me.
Right. Yeah. See, like HGA 2. Yeah. There's some bops to it, but what drew me
in Intro to Glory, like immediately, like it starts out with like rewinding the tape. And I actually made a lyric video on my YouTube channel after I listened to it. It harkens back to Zone Out, which is one of his best tracks over at Reach Records. So what I did in the lyric video, I don't know if you've seen it yet. It's literally like a TV by itself, and then it's like fast forwarding that track, pausing it, and then it's essentially goes with the track.
Right.
But listening to it, I'm like, and then once you hear the zone out,
right,
and then blackout,
right,
I'm like, this is Zone Out Part 2. Yes, yes.
You went crazy. Right.
I'm so into this. Yes.
Right.
But yeah, HGA is KB's Church Clothes. In my opinion.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. Like there are some tracks on there. I can't name them because I don't like them. Oh no, Miracles with him and Lecrae. I think that's really good too.
Okay. I hated that song, but I really hated it. That's an industry song. Like, they would never make that song if the Christian industry did not exist. Tell me I'm lying. Why does that song exist?
Why does any Christian song exist?
That one particularly exists for the Billboard charts.
Okay, yeah.
For the playlist.
Okay, yeah.
That song is terrible for me.
For radio listeners.
For radio listeners, right?
Yeah.
Like KB singing. What he can sing, but that's not KB. Like KB that I like is the tempo KB. Do you know tempo?
Like fast tempo.
No, there's a song that goes I just found my tempo dog. Like the KB,
yes.
You know, like the KB that is
tempo boy.
The one that's rapping. The one that's telling you life.
Now, I know what song you're talking about.
Yeah.
It starts out with a record label in the forest somewhere.
Yes.
Now, this channel's called Kick It to the King Productions. I swear to you, when I'm listening to it for the first time, I thought he said word for word, kick it to the king with the most. I'm like,
you see, inspired by KB tempo. You see what I'm saying?
No, and then I listen to the lyrics. It's like kick it with the king.
With the king.
I'm like, okay.
Oh, never mind.
For a split second, I'm like, hold up.
Like KB stole my.
No. I honestly take that as if those were the words he said.
Yeah.
I would not take it as a copyright thing. I would view that as like an honor thing. I'd be like. Of all the things you can write down, those were the words you wrote down. You chose.
That's cool. It didn't happen,
anyway, but yeah, that's a good song with him. With tempo. Yeah.
You know, and again, I'm like that HGA2 Christians, the general Christian public would love it. It's an album that he can perform at shows and they would sing. It would become a worship show. But for a rap fan,
if he and Lecrae are on tour together, that's the song they definitely go to.
You know, but for a rap fan, the person who followed KB because he's a rapper, no, I don't want to hear that.
Well, for me, I like good music. So, like rap, hip hop, like going down with the beats, lyrics, like. I mean, for me as a casual fan, that's not main priority.
That's not right. Yeah.
I mean, but I can see from your point of view. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
You don't like Miracles. Okay.
You know, it is different because, as I said, I've been in those rooms. I've heard the conversations. It makes it hard to listen to the songs.
Because I don't think ever since KB signed with Sony, he and Lecrae ever did one together. Or did they? Or
they featured. I think
KB featured on Lecrae's song.
Yeah.
Or
was it Harvey's song? One of the
Harvey's, yes, that's what it was. The remix.
Yes.
They added.
Yes. It was a good song. It was a good song. It was a good song.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. But nah, music is very subjective.
Is Harvey Reach Records?
He's Reach Records.
Okay,
he is
so it runs that same thing. Like, if KB were to be featured on Lecrae track, like crossing labels like that.
Right.
Because his Danza song, I think one of them is a Universal record. A Universal label. So So the dynamics of now here's a movie comparison for you. Before 2015, Sony had a hard grip on the Spider-Man film rights, and folks at the genesis of the Marvel Avengers universe is like, why can't Spider-Man show up in these movies? Why can't X-Men and whatnot show up in these movies? Well, because other studios owned them, and speculation was, how you split profits with such characters? Spider-Man makes almost $1 billion. I mean, I couldn't crack 900 actually, but still makes that much for just one character versus your group of characters. You make over $1 billion. Like, how much difference really is it? And then they finally, in 2015, Sony, Marvel, and Disney come to a lucrative deal where you see a Marvel produced movie that doesn't have the name Spider-Man in it, and he shows up in the movie, they keep all the profits. Anything Sony produced, I mean, under the name Sony, but Marvel Studios acts as a production company for Sony. For a Spider-Man movie, Sony keeps all of the profits for solo movies. Wow. So that almost $2 billion for No Way Home that just came out, that's in Sony's coffers. Wow. So that's in Sony's coffers.
That's a deal.
There's a percentage that they will get, especially this new renegotiated one. They got 5% of first profit, like first non-gross money. Then for No Way Home, they renegotiate to where they get 15% of that profit. Okay. But that's still 75% for Sony. Yeah. And so it makes me wonder, intriguing behind the scenes, how that would be for music labels, artists crossing, because I know for tours, it's got to be a headache if you're trying to get someone from a different label to tour with you.
Most artists are in a 360 deal. So they get a percentage of the touring, a percentage of whatnot. So yeah, it can be stressful. I know that it might be Universal might have been on the credits because that song was a sample from another song that was owned by Universal. So that's probably why Universal. So yeah, it is very similar or almost the same thing, you know.
By the way, that's like you were talking about lyrics and what, like
Danza?
Like with the hymns and whatnot. Yeah, like I will dance like David dance. Like, I'm thinking Israel and the New Breed, man. It's just that sort of stuff just brings me back to those days. So let me
see all those credits. That's money going.
All right, so I have here a Prominent label. That's that. Oh, so that's KB's label. Yeah. Okay, division of Sony, and then you have a. Who is this? One of them was Universal. I saw. Yeah, right there. Universal Inc. with RMG.
RMG, okay.
RMG and BMI.
BMI, okay.
And All Central Music. AS.
ASCAP?
Yes, ASCAP.
Okay.
So that song alone, a whole slew
split in a million ways.
It's like sign here, sign here, sign here, sign here, sign here.
Yeah, it's a lot of paperwork, a lot of money going here and there.
Yeah. So just off the cuff question then. You ever try out for the worship team? no, like in all seriousness.
Wait, here?
Yeah.
I've been asked to, but I feel like
because you did one of the Axis openers.
Yeah. I feel like I would burn out. Worship team is a lot. And I'm already doing a lot. So I feel I don't want to burn out of the temple. You know, I don't want to burn out. So one day, Emily, stop asking.
Oh, she asked?
Oh, my. Oh, no. Every 2 months. Every 2 months, she asks me.
Hey, someone's sick. Can you please fill in?
Yeah. No, she'd be like,
would you feel like, would you be like, I'm trying to set it up to where I can speak with Doc. He's one of the drummers to say, hey, I'd like to try out, but don't put me first in line. We were just playing basketball with him and he had like busted his knee.
I remember.
To where that instantly popped in my head. I'm like, I should just go to him one day.
This is my moment.
Like, hey, like if you're on injured, like sports terms, if you're on injured reserve, you can go for a few weeks.
Right, sub in.
It's like, I'll be available if
Right.
if ex drummers can't make it to a particular campus.
Yeah.
Like, put me. Like I will be willing to do that as like a last like break glass in case of emergency. So would you would you say that to Emily right now? Emily, if you're watching, So would you say that to Emily? Like,
Bro, the thing is,
if the majority of your staff gets COVID or they're out with a broken leg or something,
yeah.
I will fill in for you.
If you're injured, then yes, I will fill in. If you can't do it, somehow miraculously you can't make it, I will
Them and
make
others,
it.
yes.
Yeah.
Her and others.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the thing is, the worship
Never
team
say
has
never.
a way of sucking you. The moment you step in, you're not stepping out. Worship team is a commitment, bro.
Hey, yeah, it is. I mean, even
Yeah.
when I was doing it for Axis, I unfortunately couldn't break through to the main worship team. I was just stuck in Axis, but
Don't say stuck in Axis.
But that more so had to do with my attitude. Actually.
You were a butt.
Then more so my skills. Like it's basic, but for what the drummers do at the church, I can say with confidence I can do.
Yeah.
Because you got the tempo, like you got the earpiece, tempo in the ear. You got the MC, whoever's on MC on the piano, cueing you. You got the worship leader that, like, I know the hand motions. Like,
Right.
you do this on stage. They want you to
will
quiet
calm down.
You do the fist. It's the grand
Let's go.
crescendo. Exactly. We're in the song, big bang out.
Right.
So I mean,
So
I know the worship terminology. Like if they needed me to pop up on stage right now, I'd be like,
Right,
yeah,
let's
okay,
go.
I can get the flow of it.
So if you had to rate yourself out of 10 as a church drummer, be honest now.
5.
5. Oh, okay. So you need some practice.
Actually, I don't. No, I don't.
Okay.
Don't.
So why 5 and not 7 or 8?
Because I haven't played in the church band environment since youth group.
Got you.
Since
got you.
2011.
So okay, so you do need practice.
It's been 13 years.
13. So you're rusty.
Rusty in terms of like going up on stage and doing all that.
Yeah.
But
you're gonna be nervous.
But I got my step back. No, I wouldn't be nervous at all.
Really?
No, especially what I know now. We got back confidence monitors now. We got timers for songs on with the lyric flow and whatnot. We have that in the back where the worship team can see that now.
Gotcha.
We didn't have that in Axis. It was all off.
Memory.
Like I don't want to say it was memory and off the cuff sometimes.
Gotcha.
But
yeah, man.
But yeah,
do it.
But yeah, you would. Yeah, so we're both in agreement.
Yeah.
If some bad emerges, like something bad. goes
Let's not
down with
hope
the
for
worship-
bad things.
No,
Hope
I'm
for
not
good
hoping
things.
for it. No, not at all. We got great singers out there.
Right.
Man, I mean, let me see if I can list off some singers that you may or may not know. Jarrett Welch. You've heard of him?
Who?
Jarrett Welch. He used to be. Okay, you don't know him. Jesse Pritchett.
Are they like here or?
They used to be on the worship team.
No.
Man, Jesse,
I don't know many people.
Jesse went down to start his own church in Texas,
Oh.
and they actually come up here for a youth conference now.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'm like fresh, so I don't know a lot of people.
So it seems like the one person that has stuck for so long. I saw Ashley in 2015, but she wasn't there when I was like a youth student, and I showed a side by side picture of her in like my video footage I got of her. Her in 2015, Ashley Liu. She's blonde now, but she was like an auburn redhead back then. She looks like what's her name? Bryce Dallas Howard, the lady from Jurassic World.
Okay.
Like side by side,
Really?
looks just like her.
Huh. She should get paid for that.
So when she was blonde, so when she switched to dirty blonde or different hair colors, I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Which off the cuff stuff. When I used to work in the news industry, it was somewhere in the contract. Why I don't know. Why I don't know. Where there are particular girls, like news reporters, weather anchors, like whoever they were, like on the scene for the news station. For some reason in their contract, they could not have the same hair color. and they will be on rotation with each other. Because there's someone I met, blonde, and then next thing you know, she's a brunette. I'm like, where did this come from? At the same time, someone else is going blonde. I'm like, this is weird coincidence. And then you find out, I was like,
it's part of the deal.
Thing, part of the contract. It's that's odd. I'm not saying there's something like that for the Life Church.
Yeah.
Like, I first come here, Emily is like a blonde. You can see those dark roots in her hair. And then she's now going back to brown.
Yeah.
Like natural.
It's part of the deal, ain't it, Emily? It's part of the deal.
All right. Is there anything you want to say to someone that may be an aspiring artist or photographer?
Yeah.
Any advice you like? Say they're in high school or they're just about to come out of high school.
Yeah.
What advice would you want to give them?
Okay, so again, that last part is vital that you said how old they are. Because if you're 40, I'll tell you to go get a job. Go get it.
You're past your prime.
I'm sorry.
Go that way.
Be realistic, my boy. If you're in high school, I'll say don't wait now. Get as many skills as you can for yourself now. So if you can learn how to mix, how to master, how to make a beat, you don't have to be the best. The more skills that you can do for yourself, the better your chances. And get on social media and show us how good you are. Because that's where people are. Record labels are no more the end all be all. You can be your own if you get on social media and market yourself. So start now. Don't wait till you think you have money or you think you're good enough. Start now and get a head start. Because when you're 24, you'll wish you started when you were 18. So start now. Go to YouTube University. That's where the best artists learn their craft. YouTube University. Learn how to record yourself. Learn how to make beats. Start now.
Any closing thoughts you want to give to the audience?
Hey man, support Kick It to the King. He's kicking it. He's kicking it hard to the King. This has been fun, man, for real.
Yeah, it's been fun.
It's been real fun.
And my closing thoughts are Spotify this man, Apple Music, wherever he is online for his music.
Thank you, sir.
Look him up. His tracks are dope. They are fire, whatever emoji you want to put in there these days.
I appreciate
He
that,
is
man.
this man, Vic Lucas.
Appreciate you.
And where can people find you on social media at?
When I'm on, the Vic Lucas everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, the Vic Lucas.
All right. This is Vic Lucas, and my name's Joshua Mickle, signing off. And as always, as he said, keep kicking it to the king.
Yes, sir.